right, so let's head straight to it. Dr. Ambrose Ogboke, a media consultant and chairman Guild of Public Affairs analyst, joins us live now from the coast city. Thank you indeed, as always, Dr. Ogboke, for agreeing to do this with us, analysis and commentaries. I wonder just how the atmosphere is in the coast city where you are. Has it been raining as well?
Yeah, good morning. It's good to be here. Coast city is cool and stress-free, unlike you guys in Lagos.
I was asking if the rains are also there. We've seen rains here. It's not been an easy ride for those on the island, the Lekki axis precisely.
I couldn't hear what you said.
I was asking if it's been raining, just like it's been raining here.
I think there's a break. I couldn't still hear you.
Okay, well, let's just leave that and see how we can get onto the papers this morning. So let's take a look begin with the leadership newspaper this morning, Dr. Ogboke. The leadership newspaper this morning, it leads with the writer there, billionaire Samad Rabiu forecasts $1,400 exchange rate by year end. Billionaire Samad Rabiu forecasts 1,400 naira to a dollar exchange rate by the year end. We see another rider there, but perhaps let's begin with that, Dr. Ogboke. Are you as optimistic as Rabiu is?
Well, these marginal wins that we make, reducing interest rates by 2%, 3 basis points, all those things. And then we are exchanging naira for dollar for 1,400 and we are jubilating. These are marginal celebrations in a major failure. Just 5 years ago, naira was exchanging at the bank rate for 360 naira to a dollar. Nigerians have become poor. Even those who had money have become poorer because the value of the money you have, is nowhere. My friend was making, a kind of insurance with one of the insurance companies. Was making like a mandatory, deposit of 50,000 naira every month from his salary from 2019. And by the time from that 2019, he was having a little project at home, and he could one bag of cement was I think 2,500 naira. So with his 50,000, he could buy almost over 20 bags of cement. Now, come to 5 years later, where he collected the money, the value has eroded so much that he started regretting why he was doing that savings in the first place. And so also with so many other Nigerians, how much was bag of rice? So when you juxtapose the exchange rate to dollar, from dollar to naira, no matter the wins you have, if you don't have it below 1,000 naira, then there's nothing to celebrate. There is nothing to actually beat our chest and say, oh, we have improved. What are we improved on? That look at Benin Republic, CFA franc is catching up with us. Those days, we remember when you cross the border, when you go to Benin Republic to buy something, you are a big boy because your money is like dollars to them. But now we almost are the same. A lot of African countries, their currency have overtaken naira. So I didn't know that in my lifetime I will exchange a dollar for 1,000 or for over 1,000 naira. And here we are celebrating that it came down to 1,400. It should crash. So because how does it crash? When we don't even have the manufacturer, when we don't export anything apart from the crude oil. Yet we export the crude oil. And then we have the shame, or I don't even know what to call it, to export refined products back to this country, eroding all the gains we have made, all the forex we would have, exchanged with importation of refined product. So, as I said, it is a paradoxical economic paralysis that we're having here. At the same time, the people who are leading us are celebrating inanities. And so I think we should just work hard to bring down the exchange rate and ensure that Nigerians start coming out from this multidimensional poverty where you have money but you don't have value.
Well, let's look at something that may be good news, apart from some of the other concerns of the economy, which I believe is seen on the front page of New Telegraph this morning. The headline says, FG moves to restart oil production in Ogoniland as Tinubu confers posthumous honors on Ogoni 4, 31 years after. There's just one more rider. Ribadu reaffirms President's directive on Niger Delta peace development. And Boni residents seek NLNG IOC's assistance to tackle flooding. Well, the most important part of the story, I believe, will be the federal government's intervention to ensure that oil production starts in Ogoni, restarts, and the honoring of the Ogoni 4. I'm sure you're abreast of events from that part of the country, particularly following the June 12 Democracy Day speech of Mr. President, which had conferred honors on Ken Saro-Wiwa and his other 9 acolytes, I believe. What are your thoughts on this, particularly with the understanding that it should now bring peace to Ogoniland after 31 years of acrimony?
Fortunately, I know a lot about the issues in Niger Delta because I grew up as a young boy in Warri. I remember as a student of secondary school, so we have what we used to call acid rain, where we have this kind of rain because of the flaring of gas. You have this when we rain falls sometimes it stains our school uniform, which was white. You have dotted black lines. And so many of that rivers were polluted. You see fish being floating out of the river dead. So I saw them, live, the pollution and environmental hazards that the oil exploration caused. For the Ogoni, it has been a long struggle. I think it's even more than 31 years is even when the crisis happened of the Ogoni 9. But before then, remember there was MOSOP, Movement for the Survival of Ogoni People. That MOSOP was, the kind of the platform in which the Ogoni people started agitation very long time ago. And one of the things that threw up Ken Saro-Wiwa, the writer, the poet, as also, a frontline environmentalist. It was due to the activities of MOSOP that the regime of Sani Abacha could not, condone. And that is why it led to the hanging of the Ogoni 9. And unfortunately, a big international oil corporation, IOC like Shell, played a very dirty role in what happened in Ogoni. Because of the execution of Ken Saro-Wiwa and the other Ogoni, frontline activists, production stopped there. Over the years, there have been talks about cleaning up Ogoniland. I remember even former Vice President Oshibajo was there at the point to see how these things can be done. Finally, it is good to know that pieces has returned there and are now ready to embrace, some of the conditions, and that Shell was not going to be part of it, because I listened to an interview one of the Ogoni leaders saying that Shell is not going to be part of it. So let's look forward to having Ogoniland revived. The federal government and all stakeholders to ensure that that place is revamped, because it's a sorry sight when you go there, and that the people have what they deserve, because the oil comes from them. And when you exploit oil from them and degrade the environment and render the people poor, then there's a problem. So we look forward to the prosperity of Ogoniland. And this is good news for the Ogoni people. And we hope that this falls through and make sure that it is implemented as it is on paper.
Dr. Igboke, just before we go to the next dailies this morning, I'd like us to go back to the leadership for a moment. At the bottom of the leadership newspaper, something interesting has been happening in Osun State. It's not a brain crisis. It's rather a crisis that has lingered for quite some time now, protracted, I should say. At the bottom there, it says, don't release funds to former APC council chairman. Osun wants Edu, that's the Minister of Finance, coordinating Minister of Finance. Don't release funds to former APC council chairman. Osun wants Edu. I'd like you to speak to this, because there have been contradictory court rulings, there have been violent clashes, there have been strikes, and all of that. The Supreme Court is yet to make some sort of clarity as to the ruling in Osun State. I wonder if you think the minister should go ahead and release funds to the former APC chairman.
Well, I just think that this all this political imbroglio that is happening in Osun shouldn't be. The whole thing happening is all political. It has nothing to do with processes. It has nothing to do with transparency. It has nothing to do with dividends of democracy for the people. It's all political. The political issues between the camp of the current governor Adeleke and that of the former governor Oyetola. Those are the dynamics that is happening in Osun.
Yeah, but do you agree with those, Dr. Boku, just a moment, do you agree with those who think that, you know what, allow the Supreme Court ruling or judgment first before you make that transfer or release of funds to the former APC chairman? I think we should wait. Do you agree?
Kelly, I'm actually having difficulty. I hear your colleague, but I only find it difficult to hear you. You kind of break in between. I don't know if it's a microphone or something.
Mr. Igboke, Kelly is asking if it is okay to wait for the Supreme Court to make a definitive ruling on the case before the Attorney General goes ahead to release funds to the APC local government chairmen who are not in office. By the way, there's a contention over local government in administration in Osun State.
I think I think everybody, all the parties should wait till the Supreme Court, because when the Supreme Court makes such a pronouncement, it does not help only Osun State, but other. It becomes a judicial precedent and a pronouncement from the court, from the highest court in the land, and becomes law. So that when this kind of issues also come up between governors in other states, and the scenario plays out in other states, then we can now draw judicial precedent from the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. But right now, the players or the stakeholders concerned, I think should not shoot their swords, and then the Supreme Court should have accelerated hearing so that they can make a pronouncement on this, and then we can move on. Osun people are suffering for it, and this should not be their lot.
Dr. Boku, all right.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's try again.
Okay, I hope you can hear me now, because I want us to switch gears to the Daily Independent. It says, Tinubu to UN and world leaders, reform or risk irrelevance. Reform or risk irrelevance, says demand for UN Permanent Security Council seats timely, blast UN over inaction to Middle East conflicts, points Nigeria's mineral wealth, reforms as blueprint for Africa. Perhaps I should even start by asking you if you think Mr. President should have been the one there at the 80th session of the Assembly, making these points and reiterating the need for what he had started last year, Dr. Igboke.
I don't know the reason why the president is not there. And I don't know what else is more important domestically that will take the place of United Nations General Assembly for our nation, for our president not to be there. Earlier in your discussion with your colleague, I heard about a coronation and the rest. A coronation date can be postponed if you must be there. You could do the coronation, maybe we would have done it last week. If you couldn't have done last week, you could have appealed to the Council of Elders or the people who do the coronation to say, oh, okay, can you move it? I have a UN General Assembly next week. Can we do upper week before the independence celebration or after the independence celebration? These things can be worked. But that to lose out on the biggest stage in the world because of domestic issues, I don't think. Because the same president goes on vacations for 2 weeks. Sometimes it's not around for 10 days, sometimes not around for 4 days, and we still manage our domestic, affairs without his presence. So this it still defies logic that the president is not in hunger. I don't know what is really happening, unless there are other issues that they are not telling us. But if it's for domestic issues, that should not hold. The United Nations General Assembly is the highest diplomatic arena where any leader in the world will be able to present his own cases for their countries, and try to get some, some concessions, trying to get some flags, some to get, a lot of, propositions out there to the world leaders, and then get concessions for their countries. But when you now, don't have that, there's a problem. And I also noticed that the vice president is trying his best there, but you can see the There are no high-level interactions. I mean, how can the president of France, for example, talk with the vice president of Nigeria in Onga, or the president of United States of America, or the prime minister of Canada, or prime minister of Britain? You could see that as of yesterday, the interactions, the sideline interactions were, I think, the president of Mozambique or something, and then somebody from
Namibia,
Bill Gates Foundation. So, but we have not seen that. Look at Zelensky talking with Trump, and for example. So, if our president was there, perhaps the world leaders who wanted to talk with Nigeria could. But for someone diplomatically, it may not be correct for them to start talking to a vice president. So they just stay away.
All right. Dr. Ambrose Igboke, it's a fine place to leave it. I'm told that we have to round off with this segment now. Dr. Ambrose Igboke is a media consultant and chairman Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria, Enugu State Chapter. Thank you indeed, as always, for your analysis, Dr. Igboke.
Thank you, Kelly, for always having me on the show. It's my pleasure.
All right. Well, let's get to switch gears now and get to unpack our first conversation this Thursday morning with you. Nigeria's economy gets our attention. Our next guest understands the workings of this economy. He has been around for quite some time. He will do this analysis for us in just a moment. Please stay with us.